Hey everybody, I am Jesse Dollemore, and this is The Conversation, which is brought to you by my twice per week podcast on iTunes, Google Play Music, called I Doubt It with Dollemore. And before I even get into this, the suits over at Time Warner, who own HBO, need to know that I'm well within my legal rights to play, discuss, and provide commentary on these excerpts due to the United States Copyrights Office fair use policy. Viacom tried to remove my last video containing clips of Tomi Lahren on Comedy Central's The Daily Show, and I won that battle. So let's save both of ourselves a lot of time right now by you leaving me and my channel and this video alone. Look, Tomi Lahren is scrambling. Her contract is up soon with The Blaze, which is owned by the anti-Donald Trump and now pro-Black Lives Matter Glenn Beck. And she's desperately trying to find a new place to land where her support for the white supremacist alt-right will be nurtured and appreciated. She managed to get herself tremendously out of her league on Real Time with Bill Maher on Friday night. And I'd like to know what happened to that firebrand, foaming at the mouth, angry Tomi who's ready to throw down with anyone who contradicts her narrow worldview. Because that Tomi, she was missing from the Real Time stage. When given a chance to step away from the kids' table and be with the adults who talk about meaningful issues using substantive language, you blew it, Tomi. Your tired style of repeating buzzwords and calling people bud and screaming about snowflakes over and over, it doesn't work against actual intellects with even a basic cursory knowledge of vital and important topics. So, you were left outgunned and ultimately defenseless. And if it weren't for the decency of your host to give you both respect and a platform, it would have been more of a catastrophe than it turned out to be.
And first of all, thank you for being here.
Thanks for having me.
Yeah, no, because you're a Trump supporter. It's not an easy crowd.
Look, despite the shit show that your appearance ended up being, I'm going to give you credit for knowing the names of the men who gave the ultimate sacrifice while serving their country they loved. I was shocked, and admittedly, I was impressed that you knew the names of those who died that day in Benghazi. If only you were open to somehow being able to retain other important facts. Anyway, I guess it just gives me hope that you're not totally a lost cause, Tomi. Listen, despite Donald Trump's vulnerability and his fragile inner narcissist that he's trying to constantly attempt to coddle and appease at every turn, you seem to believe that our so-called president's actions and reactions are not due to his hurt feelings. When the discussion turned to his inability to accept the fact that he lost the popular vote, your face did this. Seriously, everybody, watch her confusion.
A president who wants to reach out to the whole country, govern the whole country, would say, I'm going to put forward somebody that recognizes that. But he's unable even to recognize that for himself because it hurts his feelings. And so he has to go and govern in a way that is as if, it wasn't 46% of the country.
Right.
What was that? Speechless, huh? Look, Tomi, you must know that Donald Trump is a petulant child and that his only motivation for action is what is best for Donald. What will make Donald feel best? He is the president of the United States of America, and he is still talking about crowd sizes, television ratings for interviews of him, harsh reporting of him, which he attempts to propagandize and label fake news, and the state of things without him on a reality TV game show. Ugh. Well, listen, it didn't take long for Tomi's sheltered and troublingly divisive views about race in America to be showcased. Here, she is asked about the right and their sickening hypocrisy related to the treatment and opinions of Donald Trump.
Right. Do you think a black person could act like Donald Trump and be president? Honestly. No. Yeah. Do you think if a black person acted like that, America, it wouldn't matter?
I don't think it would matter, no. I don't think it would. Yeah. I don't look at Trump and judge him on his character flaws. I judge him on his policies.
But if a black guy ran for president and acted just the way he did, made fun of the handicapped, said I grab pussies because I'm a celebrity. If a black guy said I grab pussies and they let me do it because I'm a celebrity, right? You think that it would make no difference that he was black?
Not to me. I can't speak for America.
Wow.
To me, it would not.
Are you high, Tommy? You don't think that it would matter if a black man behaved like Donald Trump? That it would make any difference in the way that he would be perceived? Did you take some anti-anxiety drug to calm your nerves before walking out there on stage? Because they seem to have affected your basic cognition, if you did. Donald Trump has 5 kids with 3 different women, and each marriage was ended based on his infidelity. And he has made 0 attempt to conceal his pattern of wanton disrespect for women over the course of his 40 years in the public eye. Meanwhile, Barack Obama had a scandal-free administration and a picture-perfect family and an idyllic 25-year marriage to Michelle. And he was demonized. His motives, loyalty, religion, and citizenship were questioned from day one. Come on. Also, this Republican hypocrisy wasn't just reserved for President Obama. Michelle caught it too. The same family values Christians who are A-OK with Melania posing naked with another woman were outraged when Michelle Obama wore a dress in public that showed her arms. So stop it, Tommy. You're embarrassing yourself. I guess that's just become something you're used to. It's just gross. Well, in the next exchange, she does what Tommy does best when intellectually outmatched. She pivots and misdirects in a desperate hope that it will somehow go unnoticed. She has asked a simple question about whether she believes, like 67% of her fellow Republicans, that discrimination against whites is as big a problem as against people of color. Just watch.
2/3 of Republicans agree that discrimination against whites has become as big a problem as discrimination against minorities. That's a fundamental. Do you agree with that?
I think that there's certainly an element of division that needs to be addressed, as evidence at UC Berkeley the other night. I do think that there's certain issues in society where we're becoming more divided, and it's not just blacks against whites, it's whites against blacks, it's all of us against each other, and it's toxic.
Well, that's hilarious, but it didn't get really ridiculous until Bill Maher called her out for not answering. He repeated the question and forced an answer from Her Royal Highness, the alt-right princess.
But that's not what I asked.
Right.
We're going to get to Berkeley. But this says 2/3 of Republicans say discrimination against whites is as big a problem as whites against blacks.
Yeah.
Are you part
As
of
we
that
sit here,
2/3?
as we sit here today, I do think that there is an element of racism against white individuals. I do.
I'm confused. What is this discrimination against us whites that you speak of, Tommy? When have you personally felt discriminated against because you're white, because of the color of your skin? Were you discriminated against as a white woman when you walked into the nationally recognized news organization to get an entry-level job and instead walked away with your own show? You were barely even legally old enough to have a beer when this happened. Is this the kind of discrimination you're talking about? Because if it is, I'm sure every single black person in America would love to taste that flavor of discrimination. Or do you feel that you've been discriminated against because of the general population's inability to tolerate your cozy and unapologetic relationship with the alt-right and with racists all over the country? Well, Tommy, let me give you, for free, a masterclass in only a few short sentences. You saying you believe discrimination against us whites is as big a problem as discrimination against blacks is a massive part of why your message will never reach anyone other than the clowns with the Pepe the Frog profile pictures who love and support you online. By saying that, you're only discounting blacks and their shared accumulation of pain and maltreatment. I can only assume that it comes across as you being openly hateful and bigoted, and that you're being contemptuous of their experiences. So again, why don't you try to approach the world from a viewpoint of kindness and empathy? Plus, it's just stupid to assert that whites have it as bad as blacks. It just seems to me that you're making that claim is a way for you to steal from them the essence of their collective and individual struggles. Even conservative Rick Wilson and liberal Michael Eric Dyson back me up on that. And I'll give them the last word.
I'm a conservative and not a Trump person. Let me just say this. That's absurd. That's fucking crazy. And let me say this as a black liberal person, that's absurd.